Being a Muslim woman in Britain isn't easy. Sometimes it feels like everyone has an opinion on how you should live your life.
On Instagram, every day, there will be someone who will comment and say, oh, you're this, that, and the other because you don't wear a hijab.
My name is Mehreen Baig. I'm 28, unmarried, and a Muslim.
Mehreen,
Yes?
you've been upstairs all day. I want you downstairs now to eat with me.
Now I'm at a crossroads, struggling for independence from my parents
My profile is complete.
and anxious about the prospects of marriage.
I'm looking for someone who's not going to try and act like my third parent. I don't know what you fancy,
I don't mind actually.
besides me. I'm joking.
That's not a bad starter.
In this programme, I'm going to meet some women who can all tell me something different about the struggle to balance being a modern British woman and a Muslim.
I thought I knew what makes a good Muslim woman. I don't even know anymore.
And I hope they can help me resolve some of the dilemmas I'm facing.
You moved out of home and live by yourself?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm not allowed to do that.
See, but that's a cultural thing.
Can I be a strong, independent woman and a good Muslim? Or does Islam not give me that right? I think of myself as a modern, career-focused woman. I trained as a teacher, and for the past 5 years, I worked at a comprehensive school in Tottenham.
I always thought being a good person means that I'm a good Muslim. I pray every day, I fast. The biggest conflict I face between practicing my religion and living my Western life is clothing. I get, really positive support on my social media and stuff, but the few times when people will try and point a finger at me and tell me I'm a bad Muslim, what they're going to pick on, they're going to pick on the way I dress. If that's the worst thing you can pick about me as a person and me as a Muslim, I'm quite happy with that.
I may come across as self-confident and outgoing, but I still live at home with my parents.
That's it. Be my assistant for a while.
I'm a good assistant, Dad.
I know you are.
I've been brought up in a traditional Pakistani family. The heritage and culture they've given me are hugely important to me. And I can't imagine life without them.
How do you do this? I don't even know this.
But living this way has its frustrations. As in many Pakistani families, in practice it means my dad lays down the rules for my life.
Have I put any, you tell me, unfair restrictions on you since the time you grew up?
I don't think you put any unfair restrictions,
yeah.
But now you still will call us.
I'm very protective.
You're very protective.
About my children, my family, yes, that's
and sometimes at 28, if you go out, you don't want to get phone
you
calls at 10
feel 28, I think you are 18, Mehreen. In my books, if I am 39, you cannot be 28.
I know, but even though you don't want to get older.
Fortis. Nuisance child.
But you are still overprotective.
I am. That's the way I am.
But what boundaries did I ever push? I never pushed any boundaries.
Yeah, you go on trips with your friends, you go on parties and you go on this.
I always tell you where I'm going, always.
I'm not happy with that. I think you should be restricted. There's certain rules. You should be back by 8. You come back by midnight. That's no good.
I should be back by 8?
Yes, 8 or 8:30 maximum if it's winter even.
And would you say the same thing to
Summer, you should be back by 10. That's okay with me.
Would you say the same thing to your son? Does your son need to be back by 8?
My son is a married man. He's independent now.
So if I was married, then it's okay?
Yeah, of course. Then it's the duty of your husband to look after you.
I love my dad and respect everything he has done for me. But sometimes his rules drive me crazy. He says they're Islamic, but I want to know how true that really is.
A lot of the time when you're growing up, you are told, you can do this, you can't do this, and you just accept it and you don't question where it came from, what's the source, why are we being asked to do this? I used to pray because I used to watch Mum pray. I knew as much about my religion as my parents had told me. They were my main source of information. I think this journey is really important because we need to discover what makes a good Muslim woman.
End blasphemy laws today! End blasphemy laws today!
First, I want to meet someone who, like me, has been brought up in a British Pakistani family, but has decided to take a very different path. At a protest in London against Pakistan's strict interpretation of Islamic laws, I'm meeting Sadia, who's taken the radical step of leaving the faith altogether.
This is just a mini version of the Quran.
For Muslims, the Quran is the literal word of God and must be obeyed. But there are also the associated hadiths, the sayings and doings of the Prophet Muhammad, which are more open to interpretation. It was questioning what these different religious texts said about her rights as a woman that led Sadia to a crisis of faith.
At 19, when I was engaged for a short period of time.
That's very young.
Yeah, very young. I knew that I'd have to become quite religious to be able to make that marriage work. I started to research more, I started to read more. I used to be a niqabi at one point.
Oh my God, wait. Yeah. Okay, wait, mind blown. And you were full niqabi?
Yeah, full niqabi, completely.
God. Did you research lots before you started wearing it about the women's dress code in Islam?
I read books.
Yeah.
I read the Quran, I read the hadith, I read books about women's position and the advice given to women about their dress. And because it said that I had to cover, that's exactly what I did.
Does it say you have to cover everything except for your eyes?
No. So you cover your hair, that's mandatory. Covering your face isn't.
Is it mandatory to cover your head? That's something that comes up a lot. So obviously, the general consensus is you have to cover your hair. But then some people say if you read, that's in the hadith, but if you read the Quran, it says you need to cover your upper area, so your chest.
Boobs and stuff.
Yeah.
So even if we entertain the thought that we don't have to cover our hair, but we have to cover everything else, men only have to cover from their
navel to their knee. I found out the other day. Was there a particular, moment or event that you thought, that's the final straw, I can't be a Muslim anymore?
Do you know about the wife-beating verse in the Quran? You don't know about this?
I read it the other day. There's something like if a woman is adulterous, you can beat her lightly.
So is
that what you're referring to?
Yeah, this is it. And what the fuck does lightly mean? If somebody says to me that he can beat me with a stick, but I can't beat him at all, that's not fucking equality.
No.
Far from it.
Of course, it gives you the tools essentially, as in you can pick out whatever, you can pick out that statement, you can pick out whatever statement you like and use it to your advantage. But that's not the religion's fault, that's humans being arseholes. Yeah. So why didn't you stay in Islam and reform it rather than leave it altogether?
I didn't want to be my husband's wife. I wanted to remain who I was as a person. And I feel like you disappear in Islam.
I found that quite difficult for various reasons. I found it difficult because there were some things she said that I didn't know and they actually shocked me. Everything she found, everything she focuses on is so negative and it's so the opposite of me. And it's really weird because we're both from quite similar families, quite similar backgrounds. We're both Pakistani, but we went such opposite ways.
But for all the scholarly debates, for me, the right way for a Muslim woman to behave usually comes down to one man, my dad.
I've got 7 missed calls from my father and 2 text messages. Hello, Father. Don't be worried. That's fine, don't be worried. Love you, bye. Sometimes you want to do something as a British young woman, but your family and your culture want you to do something else, and you kind of always have to pick between the two. And the hard part is that no matter what you pick, you'll be letting someone down. I might want to come home at 3 a.m, be out with my girlfriends, but I know my parents won't sleep until I get home. So I end up leaving early. And my friends will say, why are you leaving early? But if I stayed out, I wouldn't be able to enjoy myself anyway, because I just feel too guilty.
Are Dad's rules really Islamic though? Or simply cultural ideas that he's inherited as a fairly typical Pakistani man? Who am I really obeying? My father or my religion? The women attending a dinner to mark Black History Month say they feel no contradiction between being good Muslims and living independent lives. I want to know how they manage it.
My experience of Islam has been a very Asian experience. Looking at your day-to-day life, does Islam empower you?
Yes. Hell yes.
A lot of women will tell you that Islam oppresses women.
Exactly. I'm like, well, you have not met the women from my family. Like, generation upon generation, it's like, we are nurses, doctors, landowners, multiple property owners, directors and screenwriters. When they kind of like say, this is what a Muslim woman is, it's like, well, you need to get out more.
If anything, it's Islam that has allowed me to be a very confident woman. And it's Islam that has given me the ability to be able to interact with men in an equal way.
Do some people use the hijab as a form of oppression? Is that where the idea comes from, that some women are forced, some younger girls are forced, or some wives are forced, or is that Islam? Like,
of course, there's some women, children that have been forced to wear the hijab, but there's so many other women that haven't been forced. For someone to tell me you have to wear the hijab, if someone tells me to do that, I'm taking my hijab off. You know what I mean? If you're gonna force me to wear the hijab, I'm taking it off. I wear this out of love. This is my identity.
girls like the ones that I met today, I don't think I've seen very many of them. Women who genuinely feel empowered because of Islam. They can clearly differentiate between what is Islam, what is culture, what is society. And that's what I wish I had, this clear definition of what Islam is and what Islam instructs.
One of the women I met at the dinner, Yasmin, even described herself to me as a Muslim feminist activist. How on earth does she balance an independent lifestyle I can only dream of with the expectations of her family?
I remember having a conversation with my mum when I was maybe in my early 20s, and she said, you know, Islam is a radically feminist religion.
What practical examples can you give me of ways that you feel Islam has liberated you rather than oppressed you?
My first job was as an engineer on oil and gas rigs. I moved out of home, I followed my career, I got a really good education, I've spoken out, I've never been expected to marry anyone in particular.
You moved out of home and lived by yourself?
Yeah.
That's amazing. My family is quite liberal, but I wasn't allowed to move out. I wouldn't be allowed to move out. I'm 28, but I won't move out until I get married.
That's wild. But like, that's a cultural thing. Within Islam, it says if your parents are doing the wrong thing, you have the right to stand up against your parents, right? Mm-hmm. And it's at the same time, you know, paradise is at the feet of your mother. So even though paradise is at the feet of your mother, if your mother is doing the wrong thing by Islam, you have the right within Islam to say no. Mm-hmm. And that is huge. Mm-hmm. But culture is almost, if not stronger, a hold on people.
Was Yasmin thinking about marriage as much as I was?
You know, I'm not too fussed about the marriage thing. Like, I think it would be nice to find a partner, but one of the main motivating factors is, well, I'm still holding on to the no sex before marriage thing. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, right. And it's a struggle, right? Like, we have needs.
Sometimes I think, what if I reach 32 and I'm still not married, which looks pretty realistic right now.
I feel ya. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, it's...
Then what's gonna happen? Will it sounds so bad, like it sounds so bad, but will God be like, I understand?
Honestly, I've gotten to the age where I'm wondering that too. And I know this is like the wildest conversation, and that all of these aunties are gonna be like, astaghfirullah, yeah. Like, how could you possibly? But the reality is like, it's not as if we have any less of a sexual desire than men.
But people often assume that Muslim women have no sexual desire.
We're all neutered, apparently. Like, get off it. I'm as randy as the next one, right? Astaghfirullah.
Yasmin is an inspiring woman who really knows her stuff and who clearly feels no conflict between being an independent woman and a good Muslim. But the one thing she hasn't managed to do is to find a man to share her life with. It's made me think about what I can expect from a husband. I decided to see for myself what a cross-section of Muslim men expect from a wife. So in the spirit of research, I ventured out onto the Islamic online dating scene.
I'm gonna see if I can find my husband. Number one priority for me, someone who doesn't come and try and control me. I have found this app called Muzmatch. It says Muzmatch is for anyone seeking a Muslim marriage. Keep things halal. Sounds good. Select profile picture. This is my favorite bit. We don't want anything too provocative. How religious are you? Okay, what are the options? Practicing, very practicing, moderately practicing, not practicing. Depends what you count as practicing. That's a really hard question. Practicing. Am I practicing? I want someone who religiously is on the same level as me. Just a male version of me. Surely he is out there somewhere. This is really exciting.
Good to see you, looking good.
Thank you.
I don't know what you fancy,
I don't mind actually.
besides me. I'm joking.
That's not a bad starter.
I think it's okay in my subjective opinion.
What if one day I decide to wear a hijab?
Right now, it's not for me.
That'd be a good thing. It wouldn't be an issue for me.
I would definitely like that, yeah.
After you're married, would you be living at home with your mum?
Maybe not initially, potentially, but long term, I would want my mum to stay with me.
Say if my wife comes across my mum arrogant, rude, sorry, I would have to like side with my mum.
This is a different era now. It's not expected. No way.
Okay, that's really surprising. I'm guessing if we went to Morocco together, because that's where you're from, right? I wouldn't be on the beach or by the pool wearing a bikini.
If I'm honest and stuff, my preference wouldn't necessarily be to someone who walks around like a bikini and stuff necessarily.
You're cool with her wearing a bikini?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wear what you want.
That's...
Wear what you want. I do not have a problem with that.
If they go like, that's it, I'm no longer a Muslim, that's a deal breaker for me. I can't be with someone like that.
Niqab, that would be a problem for me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that a step too far?
Yeah.
Am I how you expected me to be?
You seem quite nice, actually.
Quite nice.
Very nice. Very nice. Sorry, the wrong word there.
Would you like a second date? Off the record.
Would you like to marry me?
Yeah,
Cool.
I would. I didn't know you was gonna ask that question. I had like some tingling sensation. I swear to God, wallahi, I'm not lying.
The dates proved that there isn't one version of a good Muslim husband, just as there isn't one version of a good Muslim wife. To find out what happens when an Islamic marriage falls apart, I attended a Sharia Council in Birmingham. Here, women come to seek a divorce, recognised under Islamic but not civil law.
So what happened?
I have 3 children. My son is autism.
So do all of them have autism?
No, boys.
How many?
2 boys.
2 boys have autism?
Yeah, and daughters, okay.
Daughters.
So when I talk to him, I say, we making the good family now. And you stopped all the problem. But the biggest problem, he said, I don't want more children for you. I say, why? He said, because you have the sick boys. That's very painful for me.
Does he support you financially? Does he give you money?
No, that's big the problem.
We understand that as a panel that this marriage is not functioning. It is not helping you, and the marriage is about love, compassion, trust and respect. And of course there should be financial support, which isn't there. And so as it stands at the moment, the panel is in agreement that this marriage should be dissolved.
I was shocked the husbands weren't required to attend. If they want a divorce, all they need to do is announce it 3 times at monthly intervals.
I sat in 2 cases where women had come in to ask for a divorce. In both cases, the husbands were not present. In the second case, she hadn't seen her husband for 5 years, hadn't heard from him in 5 years, but he was refusing to give her a divorce too. This woman said, I can't bear him. I cannot bear him. I cannot be with this man anymore, because even when we were together, he was just awful to me. But they have to wait for a group of strangers to deliberate and say, oh, I understand it must be quite hard for you to, give the kids if that's what he's asking. It must be hard. I don't understand.
I wanted to talk to Dr. Amra Bone, one of the judges, about women's rights in marriage.
The hardest part to see, I'm sorry, was that some of these women have been hanging on for 5 years, waiting because the man is with another family, with another woman, but refusing to let go.
We do ask this question to women. We say, why did it take you so long to come here? And they just often say, we weren't ready. We wanted to give it more time. In Islam, a woman is not prisoned when she marries. She, out of her free choice, she chooses to marry the person.
People often talk about how it says, the Quran says that you can beat your wife gently.
Well, again, how you understand that is the point. Did the Prophet ever beat his wife? Never in his life. And what does the Quran say? The Quran say he is uswatun hasana, which means he's an example for you, the best example for you.
This was a completely new world to me. I've never seen anything like I've never seen anything. I haven't seen cases like this. I haven't seen these kind of discussions when it comes to divorce and a panel sitting there. This seems miles away from the Islam I've grown up with. I've just never seen anything like this.
This journey is teaching me that my struggle to be both an independent woman and a good Muslim isn't so much to do with Islam itself, but with men's interpretations of it. And there's one man's interpretation above all that matters to me.
I have met so many girls on this journey and I've learned so much. Some things that made me feel quite uncomfortable, some things that made me realise actually Islam gives me so many rights that maybe even I can be more independent and still be a good Muslim woman. So I'm going to go and have a conversation with my father about my own independence. It's not really a conversation we have within our households. I don't know how he's going to react or if he'll even take it seriously. But I think it's about time that I had that conversation. I would like the 11 o'clock curfew has to stop. You can't wait up for me and make me rush home every time I go out. Can we change the bond to not calling me?
No, it can't happen, because if you are away and I don't hear from, yes, if you keep me posted that I'm okay, Dad, everything is fine, I'm okay.
I can do that once a day.
No, not once a day. If you are away for 10 hours, I must at least get that message 5 times.
No, this
no,
isn't.
This is no.
But we need to negotiate. We can't live like this anymore. This is a joke. We need to come to some sort of
agreement.
Yeah, agreement.
You are dictating me terms and conditions of how you want to lead your life. Am I wrong in saying that?
Yes.
That's not acceptable to me. Because, dekho na,
you can just be normal and say,
yeah, you are telling me
fine.
4,
I
5,
understand.
6.
I understand what you're trying to say. You want a bit more freedom, and maybe we are overprotective. We just want you to be safe, but maybe I can try and see if I can do that. But no promises. You don't have to say, "Oh, you're dictating. That's not acceptable to me."
Okay.
One of the girls I met actually showed me a bit from the Quran where it says, "You can question and challenge your parents. You can go against them."
This is what you are saying today, but I never dared to even question again. We thought whatever our elders or our guardians or our parents said was to be obeyed.
What if I want to live by myself?
You're most welcome if you can live without us.
That's a lie.
I will miss you. That's a different story because I love you, sweetheart. I will maybe stay down under your stairs to look after you. But
like Harry Potter.
That is my problem. I may come every weekend or maybe twice in a week or telephone you 1,000,000 times, but I will not become a hurdle in your life. Give us a hug. Are you happy now?
Yeah, but I'll believe it when I see it.
Seeing is believing.
Seeing is believing.
Okay.
I've realised that Islam in practice is always worked out between people. Daughters and their fathers, wives and their husbands. But it's also become clear to me that in order to get what you want, you have to know your rights.
And half of these rights I haven't heard of before. So why is it that lots of women's rights in general are almost hidden and men's rights are emphasized? So it's great that I'm going on this journey, but there are still thousands of girls who are going to go through shit because they don't know their rights, and even if they know them, they won't be permitted to exercise them. And that made me frustrated because there's absolutely nothing I can do about it. I've seen too many amazing women become shadows of the girl that they used to be after they got married. I'm not going to be that girl.